Hello, readers. Welcome to 20 Questions with Your Favorite Author, where we ask authors important questions like, why would you agree to be on this podcast? I'm Kelly Lynn Colby, editorial director at Cursed Dragon Ship Publishing. Our guest this week is David H. Millar, writer of ancient Celtic-based fiction and armchair sportsman. Born in Belfast, Northern Ireland, David is the founder, owner, and author-in-residence of A Wee Publishing Company, a business that seeks to promote Celtic literature, authors, and art. He currently lives in Houston with his family and a Manx cat of questionable disposition. If he's not your favorite now, he will be after. Good evening, David. Welcome to our podcast. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me on this.
Absolutely.
This is my first one.
Your first podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'll be gentle. I won't. I'm not gentle. So, question. This Manx cat of questionable disposition. How could you say that about a poor, innocent little kitty cat?
When I bought her, I went into the equivalent of the PetSmart up in Canada. I went in and there was three Manx. And I said to the shop assistant, which one has attitude? And she went, that one.
She knew right away.
Yeah. And she was right. You know.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny.
She's probably waiting to pounce. You know.
Well, you and I would get along on pet collecting then. As I go to choose my dogs, I usually like the one that talks the most, which of course means it's usually the one that continues to talk the most. And my husband laughs at me a lot, but I like the ones that talk. So this angry one, as you call her, have you made her a character in one of your books?
No, actually, I haven't.
What?
But you've given me
a missed opportunity.
You've given me an idea now. So.
Here we go. I mean, come on. You write about ancient Celts. Surely cats must come in there somewhere, right? Do they have cats as pets?
Some might have had feral cats, but mostly the cats were big mountain lynxes who were more likely to eat you rather than be petted by you.
Well, I heard somewhere it wasn't until somewhere around the Victorian period where cats actually became pets. Before that, they were lived in the barn and stuff. You know what I mean? They were outside doing their job. People would feed them just outside kind of thing.
If it's one thing I've learned with this writing is that be aware of your time period.
Right. That is a good point, especially with what you write.
Well, yeah, when you mention, the equivalent of poaching in your first book, and somebody reads it and points out that the potato didn't come to Ireland until the 1740s, you kind of go, oh, shit.
You're like, I meant not a potato.
One word in the whole of the book.
And they don't believe anything else you have to say.
I changed it. Yeah.
Smart. Well, that is the problem with writing the historical fantasy like you do, right? If you get those little details wrong, it throws people out. Yeah. So, how long does it take for you to, research these novels?
Somewhere between at least 3 months, possibly up to 5, 6. Although the research never really ends, because when I'm writing something, I'll always start going back on the internet and researching or lifting a book off the shelf. So you're still researching even though you're writing. So, but definitely at least 3 months of solid research.
Yeah. Well, what are your methods? Do you have someone that reads them for you? You have a beta reader that really knows the history? Do you how do you check and make sure things there isn't a potato in it when your story takes place in, BC, nowhere near 1740?
Well, I've got a couple of really good professional editors now, one for structural and one for copy editing. And I've got a group of 6 beta readers as well. Nice. So I kind of figure that between all 3, I catch up most things. But, it's one of these things. I read traditionally published novels, and I find mistakes in there that you kind of go,
you do though, right? You're like, ha, it's not just me. It happens.
So as long as you keep it to absolute minimum, and but I never like finding mistakes when I read my old books, and I dip into the old novels occasionally to maybe refresh my memory on specific characters, so.
Right. Yeah.
But it's when you do that and you figure out that you've actually named one of them wrong in the book, and you go, oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's the fun part about being indie published, because when you find that mistake, you can just fix it,
Yeah, but you can't really for printing, because, if I fix it, then it has to go back to my graphic designer who also does my internal formatting, who then has to reformat it, and then I have to go back on the Ingram, or I have to go back on the, Amazon. It's fine if you're just putting it on ebooks. Yeah, you can change anything quick, but print is a little bit more complicated. Yeah.
Unless you format your own, that's what I do. So it's pretty simple for us.
Yeah.
But that would be hard if you had to go through all those steps, no doubt.
Yeah, I'd have to buy InDesign, and I'm not that good.
Just use Vellum. It's way easier.
I need to buy an Apple for that.
Oh, well, actually, there's a new program too. The Atticus.
Atticus.
Yeah, Atticus. It's on Kindlepreneur. If you look up, it's Dave Chessam's product. So you can use that one. You do not need a Mac for that.
Yeah.
Welcome to Publishing 101. Let's get these questions answered. Hey, that is the fun. We were just talking about how cool it is to hang with authors, and that's part of the fun, right? Part of the fun is we have these talks, so we can actually Wait, you have this what thing? What is that? I need that. Give me the info, right? That's part of the fun. Let's see. I read the beginning of your first book in the. Do you say Canal? How do you say that?
I say Canal. It's actually Canal. If you want to be really precise, I call it Canal.
I'll have to say Canal too, because that's the closest I can get. My language is not subtle.
Yeah, whatever you read as a Gaelic name, it's never what you think it is.
Right?
It's never
worse than
is.
French. At least French, you leave out half the letters, you can get close, right? Gaelic, whatever. Just good luck. Good luck to you. Can't do it. But so in the Connell series, it has a scene from the future as an intro, right? You see a lot of prologues and all that kind of stuff, but this one's actually from the future, which was confusing at first because it's BC time, so you have to remember which way it goes. So it's from the future. So I'm wondering, what influenced that decision? Why did you do a future scene?
I thought it was cool. Were I writing Connell today, with what I've done since that, no, I would never have done it. It was originally written as a preface, so it had preface instead of chapter 1. Gotcha. And then I read reams of stuff that says you should never do prefaces in your books. So I think, okay, it's chapter 1 now. But had I to do it again, I wouldn't have done it. It was a neat idea, but you learn, So.
Yep, you learn one thing after another, and it works. So it's not like you were trying to fight an agent; you were just trying to tell a good story.
Yeah.
So that's different rules for those things. And these books are considered historical fantasy on Amazon. And how would you describe them?
I would love to describe them as Celtic historical fiction, but they're not. They're basically Celtic historical fantasy, if only because there's several paranormal characters throughout all the books, and you just can't get away with fiction rather than fantasy. So, I fully went into writing this intending to be writing historical fiction because that's what I love to read.
Right.
I love Bernard Cornwell, Con Eagleton, the rest. And I thought, one night I was sitting actually up in bed and bemoaning to my wife that I'd run out of top tier and second tier historical fiction writers. And she got tired of me moaning and basically turned around and said, "Write one yourself." So it's all her fault.
See, look at that. Wives, what are we going to do with them? I'm telling you. Well, we
But,
thank her. She had a brilliant idea because obviously you took right to it. Like, how long did it take you to write that first book?
oh, the first one took just over a year. It took 6 months to actually to do the research on that, and then writing it because I was kind of stumbling through it for the first time.
Right.
It took at least 12 months, maybe 14 months before that got out. I speeded up a bit, but not much more than that actually. So, but I keep looking back on the first one and going, I must revise this, knowing what I know now. And all my other authors,
don't do it.
All my other author friends keep saying, no, don't. They just don't want to track your progress in writing the Connell series. They want to track how you have developed as a writer. So
it is cool. It is comforting.
Yeah.
It is comforting to watch people develop. And as long as you have a good story, people will tend to forgive you.
Yeah.
So, especially if it keeps progressing.
Yeah, well, all the characters, most of the characters in the first book went right through to the final book. So there's quite a bit of character development going on there.
Well, that was one of my questions. Is it complete at 5 books?
Yeah, yes. Oh.
Like that series, anyways.
Yes, on the proviso that I may do one more Connell one. But I'm not sure about that. At the moment, it's 5. It started off as 3, and one of my initial people who read it and reviewed it said, "No, you can't stop this at 3." So I went to 5. 5 seemed a good number. So that's how it went. And, the latest books are kind of standalone spin-offs from the Connell series. And there are really other things I would like to write rather than go back to Connell again.
Yeah, there are more things, right? It's like, I have more things. Are you going to stick with historical fantasy, or do you have a different genre you want to tackle?
It will be mostly historical fantasy. As I say, I've got a manuscript written for an urban Celtic fantasy based in Belfast and another setting. And I actually sent that to my structural editor and said, "Hey, look, this is different." And she sent me back and said, "David, this is 2 books, not 1."
You're like, oh.
And if you're writing fantasy, you have to do world development more.
Yeah.
Oh, God. So there's that, but there is one historical fiction book that I want to write, and I will write, and it will be based on my favourite castle in Northern Ireland, a place called Dunluce Castle. And if you ever visited Dunluce Castle, you would know why I want to write a novel about it. It's amazing.
It sounds familiar to me, and I don't know why.
It's on the North Antrim coast, on the sort of northeast of Northern Ireland. Not too far away from Royal Portrush Golf Course. Yes. Cool. But it would be a pure historical fiction novel. But the rest of it, because I like the paranormal characters like the She and Goddess and Fate, and I even bring Serendipity in at one stage. So they're too interesting characters to not want to focus on them. And the She can be pretty terrible characters.
Yeah, they weren't known to be, giving and forgiving.
No, certainly not the forgiving. Yeah,
no, definitely.
And if they gave you anything, there was always, we want something in return. So, or there was always a price to pay.
That's true.
That's the whole thing with Connell, that there was a price to pay. So.
Yep. I mean, you can't blame them. We are always going to them, begging them for stuff, right? I mean, it's like you go to your parents all the time. They're eventually going to make you go do stuff, right? Oh,
Yeah.
sure. You can borrow the car, but you better go mow the lawn. I mean, this totally seems fair to me.
Yeah.
Yep, I think it's fair. So of all of your characters, which one do you relate to the most?
Oh, God.
I gotcha.
Relate to the most. That's a really difficult one, because part of Connell was actually built on my son, actually, kind of. So that's out.
You're like, I totally get him, but that's not the one I relate to.
There's this character that comes out more as the series progresses, and even into the spin-offs, called Beacon. But he's an assassin, a very, very accomplished assassin, and his girlfriend as well. But
perfect couple.
But he has this kind of dispassionate outlook. It kind of, mirrored some of the stuff I was doing. I used to be a biochemist doing drug research.
Gotcha.
And one morning I got a phone call saying, "We've got a body for you in the morgue." And I said, "Yeah." He says, "Well, what pieces do you want? You're Dr. Roberts, research person. What pieces?" So I gave him all a list of pieces and said, "Right, when will it be ready?" And he said, "Oh, come down into the morgue in 1 hour." So 1 hour's time, I trotted off down the morgue, walked in, and they were waiting for me.
They were like, "You get to watch the extraction."
Yeah. So the only way I could actually get through that was to kind of take myself out of myself.
Right.
And look at the whole thing dispassionately. And that's what that character goes through. He's a very kind of cool, dispassionate guy. And so probably him. But that's a really difficult question.
That's clever, though.
I will have to really think about that.
Oh, see, this is your first podcast. You see, it'll come up next time, and you'll be like, "I have a prepared response."
Yeah.
And then they won't ask the question. That's how it works. Sorry, that's totally the rules. We have, very, very, very important questions that we ask. Let's see. So 5 Complete rumor has it that you won an award this weekend at the North Texas Book Festival.
Yes, I won an award in the adult fiction. And that is my first award since I won a 6-pack of beer when I was 19.
Wait, did this one come with beer too? I'm entering next year. Hold on. We need to.
No, beer. There was no beer.
Aw, but it's Texas.
It was fun. I mean, I kind of thought, wow. Yeah. So I good for the North Texas Book Festival. They're great people, great organizers, and I will be there next year, hoping to get another one.
Well, this was the first live event for years, right? So
yeah, it was off for 2 years because of COVID. So
yeah, because I think we got ours right when COVID hit. Yeah, 2020. So I didn't even realize that they had the live ones. I was like, oh, who knew? We should have done that this year. So maybe next year. Maybe I'll see you next year.
Yeah. Well, we do. Well, my wife and I, we usually travel together. We do about 5 or 6 around Texas each year. Because it's just fun to talk to the authors. It's just it's really good talking to readers, And I've been totally surprised at some reader comments since. I think my first author event was actually in the East Texas Book Bash in Tyler, and first person that came to my table basically said, "Tell me about them." So I did, and she said, "Okay, I'll take them all." And I went, "What?" I said, "Do you just not want to take the first one?" To see.
Don't talk him out of this, Dale. What are you doing?
to see if you like it, And she went, "No." Yeah. So.
I do the same thing. I don't know when I'm going to see you again. I want them all.
Yeah, and she wasn't the first. She wasn't the only one at that particular book festival. And she was from California. She had actually come from California.
Oh,
just
wow.
to buy my books. Wow.
Anyways, that's how you're telling the story.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
make sure that, yeah, exactly. Um, the but congratulations. So it's really cool. You can now put award-winning author in front of your name. See?
Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Booker Prize next. Hey.
Yeah, that one's next. Totally next. Right next. The what advice have you gotten that has been helpful to your writing career?
Yeah.
I will try to ask the next question more stilted than this one.
uh, I know I found my structural editor to be the one that's given me most advice and kind of best advice. I don't agree with her quite a lot, but
That's also part of the editing process.
and it also it also takes me 2 weeks and a couple of whiskeys before I can open her report, because my last book that I gave her, she started off by saying, David, this is really good. This is the best you've done that I have edited for you. And then she went on to give me 25 pages of criticisms. So, but it's one of these things where, much as I hate to read what she is saying, because authors tend to get very, sensitive about their books. It's my baby. Why are you talking like that to me? And but it's kind of when I've read through her remarks for the third time, I kind of think, well, maybe she has a point.
1 point in 25 pages.
But she keeps the one thing that I actually kind of disagree with her on is and she keeps bringing this up, so we keep disagreeing, is that she keeps saying, look, David, you have to make it clear what you're saying. You have to make it clear. And I go back and say, well, can readers nowadays, not use their imagination a bit? Can they not think for themselves? Can they not? If you leave something that's not blatantly clear, can they not fill in the blanks themselves? And she goes, no.
No, you want to know why? Ready? Here's from an editor right now. I'm backing her up. Here's why. Because if they fill in the blanks, because they will, you're right, they will. But if they fill in the blanks differently than you intended, and later on you talk about it and it's different than they filled it in, then they feel like they were lied to and they don't like it and they won't keep reading. So she's right. Sorry, I'm with your editor.
You're making too much sense, Kelly. No. One of my favorite movies of all times has to be Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. And at the end of that, they left it perfectly, where they all got, you heard the firing squad go, but you never seen them die. And I kind of thought, look, I've got a way out here. They made it.
Yeah, but they're real people, so we knew dang well they died.
Actually, there's good reasonable evidence that Butch Sundance died in Texas somewhere.
Yeah, I looked at those again. Yeah, it's not. They died. Yeah.
Let me have my dreams, my fantasies.
No, they definitely died. That reminds me of when we Hamilton was really big. And so I asked a friend, I said, I wonder if he dies at the end, if he's shot, just like, and somebody's like, oh, don't tell me the ending. I was like, what are you talking about? It's historical fiction. I mean, it's an historical character. How do you not know how he died? But the person I was talking to, she was very offended that I gave away the end. I was like, I just even asked if they did end it like it happened. Like, I don't even, it was funny. But that's what it was for that one.
The other piece of advice was a very simple piece, which was don't stop. The number of times I've come up against not knowing where the next chapter is going or starting, and there's a blank page, and I got told just keep writing, even if it's only a few words, a sentence, break the page. And, on the last novel I wrote, I just couldn't get the last chapter going at all.
Oh, no. So frustrating, right?
And that was really frustrating. And that was frustrating for 3 months.
Oh, my gosh.
But I did it, And my structural editor criticized it.
Of course you did. You know the worst part, again, talking as a writer and an editor, is that we pay them to tell us how bad we are. I mean, what? I can't. Why do I pay for this? I don't understand.
It's author masochism.
Is that what it is? That's right. That's it. That's what it is. Yep. I love it. Well, that's good advice. I like both of those. So is there anything that you're working on now that you're over the moon excited about?
Yes, the two I'm working on now actually are I've really enjoyed writing. I enjoyed Connell. That's great. But these two, they're both spin-offs of the Connell series. The first one is called The Dog Roses, which is based on Connell's twin daughters.
Oh, cool.
And without giving too much away, Connell, when he did a deal with the She, his price was that he or any of his male sons could never come back to Ireland. That was the price, basically. So the daughters returned. And
they're like, we don't count. We're coming back. The
way the two characters sort of come with each other are really neat, I think. And my wife loves the book. Yes. And so that one actually comes out in September, I think.
Oh, nice. Right around the corner.
The other one is, again, another spin-off, and it's called The Blood Queen. And it is really dark and bloody.
Oh.
This is, the paranormal character you never want, ever want to meet.
Can you tell us who it is, or no?
It's how do you describe her? It's kind of like a she. Okay. In fact, the book basically kind of indicates, and this is another thing that I have to make more clear to my audience, is that she was actually one of the original She, but she kind of took a left turn and became nasty She. And for being a She, being nasty, it's kind of a pretty powerful thing. All the She are terrible people. They're awesome. They're terrible.
With great power.
With amazing powers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. This one, she's just bad to the bone. As George Thorogood would say.
Oh my gosh.
So she's a frightening character, and the title kind of gives you a glimpse into there's going to be plenty of blood about the place. Yeah.
You sound so excited about that, David. I'm a little worried. Just a little.
And the one with the twins, the Dog Roses, it takes place in Ireland, in the south of Ireland. The Blood Queen, it actually takes place in Scotland. So.
Ooh.
So up in the Scottish Highlands. But,
in my brain, it's a much bloodier place if you go back in history. So that might just be in my brain, but in my brain, it is in my brain.
Well, it tended to be quite a troubled area. A lot of people
constantly being attacked.
Well, a lot of people kind of took advantage of the Scots, and of course, the Scots were basically Northern Irish who could swim.
I have a feeling we just made a few enemies right now. I just want you to know that. I have a feeling, a sense. That's what's just happened.
If you go to a place in Northern Ireland called Donaghadee, and on a clear day and look out across the Copeland Islands, beyond that is Scotland. You can see Scotland. So there's only about 12 miles between the two.
Huh.
And
but that water's pretty cold.
Yeah, but not if you're in a boat.
You said swim.
Gosh. And, and the Northern Irish did find a kingdom in the sort of west coast of Scotland called Dalriada. So there you are. We get everywhere. Yay.
Learning so much. I love it. We still have to go to the UK. It's on our list.
Yeah, it's a great place, especially, well, actually, I think the Lake Country and, down around the south, around the coastline is beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, we figure we do the UK and Ireland. The problem is we can't see that we can do both of them the same trip. There's just too much. Even though they're tiny, there's so much we want to see. By the way, I mean tiny compared to Texas, right? So it seems tiny, right? And you have this thing called public transportation, mind-blowing. So it's really cool, but there's so much just that we completely uneducated Americans want to see. So once we get there and we're like, whoa, what's that? I want to see that too. I can't imagine doing both places.
Well, it's kind of like, drive across Houston and an hour later you're still driving across Houston.
Right.
Drive across Ireland and you're in the water.
Less than an hour.
That's it. Yeah. I never had to drive any more than 15 minutes in Northern Ireland until I came across the Atlantic. So I kind of went.
Maybe I should stop.
And I went, what's all this space?
Yep. Welcome. Hey, it says in your bio you wanted the warm weather. I think Houston delivered.
Well, certainly. And certainly my neighbors think I'm absolutely crazy riding my bicycle on 100 degrees. So, yeah.
You're like, it feels good. I like it. You don't understand what cold is, people. You don't get it.
It's a triple benefit, sauna, suntan, and exercise.
And exercise. We get them all, man. Get them all. It's true. It's true. I love it. And we have oxygen here, so it helps. Right? Yeah, all these high altitude people are killing me, man. I can't do it. Your bio, so speaking of Houston, right? So you're local here. Your bio says that you're a board member of the Irish Network in Houston. What is that? I've never even heard of that. Like, what do y'all do?
There's a network of Irish networks. That's Irish for you. Across the United States, from Boston, Philadelphia, even in Texas, there's one in San Antonio, I think, and Dallas. But they are basically there to promote kind of Irish heritage, Irish culture, and just general how to drink like an Irish person.
We can get in on that one. Yeah.
Hence, all our meetings are in bars.
What a coincidence. Same with all of our writer meetings. I'm seeing crossover.
And it's a pretty fun thing to do. This is my second tour of duty in it, and it's just there to try and maybe tell people that Ireland is not the same as John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara and The Quiet Man. We've moved on since then.
Have you though?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, parts of us. We haven't moved on very far from John Wayne in Texas, so we don't know. It's hard to compare. So are these mostly like expats, or are there a lot of like locals that with Irish descent?
Yeah, they're a mixture of expats, locals who who have basically married an expat. And also there's just people who are kind of interested in all things Irish. I'm always amazed at how people want to be Irish. It's why, when I was living in Belfast, St. Patrick's Day was something that was celebrated in the United States of America. It was not celebrated, in Ireland to any great extent. It's only, the last 10, 20 years that the folk in Ireland went, maybe we should get on this bandwagon.
Maybe stop at the green beer, though. That's just too far. Don't do that.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
But my son, he went to He's from Belfast too. He went to university in Canada, and he said St. Patrick's Day was great because he never had to buy a drink the whole day, and he would start his day off with a 24-pack of beer, and
so
keep moving, So.
And you're like, this accent, legit. What you got for me?
Yeah. He tells a story that he was in the line for to get another drink, and the guy in front of him turned around and said, "Hey, I'm Irish." And my son looked at him and went, "No, you're not." He says, "That's Scottish, that accent."
You're like, nice try. The Canadians might believe you, but I know better.
Nice try. And the guy just laughed and said, "Can I buy you a beer?" But
that's so funny.
I'm just amazed. I mean, they say that the Irish are natural-born marketers, which is why the whole Irishness has spread globally. But it all goes back to the Jesuit priests. They were born marketers.
They let it be known Irish are cool.
Yeah. But it always amazes me that there is such a deep interest in Irish, and that kind of is why I started writing Celtic historical fiction, because when I was starting to write, I was going, what genre, what period, what race? And I was thinking, and I was going, Rome. Well, that's been done over and over and over by countless. The Vikings, yeah, well, that's been done. Genghis Khan, nah.
Too much research. I need something else.
Too much research, and it's been done too much. Saxons, Bernard Cornwell cornered the market on that one, and so I was kind of thinking, where on earth, or what on earth can I focus on that actually might be a good niche? And then I kind of went, head palm.
Hello, home.
Home. When was the last time I read anything Celtic historical fantasy? Zilch, I've come close with one or two novels, but not since that. And people kind of say, "Well, what about Outlander?" And I'm going to go, not me. Great books.
Plus, that again is Scotland.
That's Scotland, yeah.
Yeah, so it's also different.
But then the Connell series doesn't stay in Ireland.
That's also true.
Connell 1, Ireland. Connell 2, Scotland. Connell 3, Scotland and south of England, where they get to meet the great hill forts of the south, which are amazing places. Then Connell 4, they skip across the English Channel and land in France, which was ancient Gaul.
Right.
And so they moved through Gaul and settled down in basically what was the Loire Valley, I think. And in Connell 5, it's a mix between Gaul or France and Italy. So, yeah. And the series always I always knew where it was going to end. I knew exactly where it was going to end. And it was just a matter of keep moving towards that, because there actually is a historical endpoint in there. So,
you're like, this event, this ends it.
This event ends it, So
love it. I love it.
Not very happily for the Romans. But
well, somebody always loses. That's the way it works. What was that quote I saw today? It said it was an African proverb. So I don't know how true that part is, but it said it was an African proverb that the hunter will always be the hero until the lion learns how to write. Right? And I was like, yeah, see, there's always someone who loses, but that's not whose story we read.
So yeah, say that, I suppose the end of Connell series, was always certain. It was moving towards this fixed point. I just had to get there and see which characters got there as well. And it's kind of the books themselves are kind of the two main characters are Connell and Morrigan. And if you want the Celtic pronunciation of Morrigan, no.
You're like, I'm not doing it. Can't do it.
It's Morrigan. and I'm amazed that Morrigan made it to the last book, because I actually had considered killing her off in book 2.
She's a fighter, man. She's a survivor.
Yeah, but she was going through a dark period.
But she made it.
She made it, yeah. But Connell at one stage considered killing her, so.
That's not very nice.
Hey.
She showed him.
So sometimes I wonder how the series would have progressed if it had been kind of sliced out. But, it's always easy to kill bad characters. It's difficult to carve to basically end the good ones. So.
Yeah, I have a hard time with that. I don't write really dark stuff because it's hard. It's really hard. There are plenty of people that have any issue with it. We could list authors right now, but it's really hard for me. Not that there's never any consequences, but when there is, it really hits me hard, really hard. Or when I'm writing, because I write outlines. I'm writing outline, I realize this character has to die. I'm like, no, I'm already sad. I haven't even written it yet. Yeah, no, I feel you.
Some of my friends had a heart attack when I said I was actually thinking of killing Connell. They went,
"You're like, what? Don't you dare!" That's funny. Don't you dare! You can't do that to me. Anyone else, not him.
And somebody said, "You can't do that, David. He's on the cover of the book."
Well, his name is. I mean, it could be a future Connell. But sometimes that's a logical end to a series too. So you never know. We have some very important lightning questions on this podcast, so we need to get to these. So I'm going to skip ahead, and we are going to ask right now, what is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Oh, I heard this one before. Belgian chocolate.
Ooh.
Häagen-Dazs Belgian chocolate.
Good answer.
Amazing.
Can zombies... You're like, I must have some. Can zombies climb?
Yes.
There you go. There you go, Og. I think you're totally winning on this one, by the way. There's way more that say yes than no.
Because they do in my urban fantasy. So.
So I decided they did. I wrote them that way. Polos or button-ups?
Button-ups.
Button-ups. What is your favorite fast food restaurant?
BJ's.
Oh, BJ's. Good choice. I don't know if I consider that fast food, but I guess it's close enough. Huh?
If not BJ's, then Chili's. Yeah.
Same, but that's all right. It works. How do you like to cool off in the summer? Do you like to cool off? See, I wrote this question before I realized how much you actually like the heat.
Yes. Normally in the pool.
After the long bike ride, it's just right in the pool.
I was there earlier this morning, so.
When it was already 90 degrees out. I'm so glad we got rain, but it's way hotter now, right? Because now the humidity's back to where it normally is. It's like you don't even realize it's gone till it's there again. You're like, oh yeah, I remember now. Houston, got it.
One of the great benefits of living in Texas is the pool.
Yes.
Having a pool. Yeah.
It's not quite as many as Florida, but we're still pretty pool dense. What is your least favorite chore around the house?
It's my wife about.
Just your wife? Yeah, she's gonna be like, "Oh, I have a list."
She would say anything. Yeah. I don't know. Least favorite chore. Yeah. Probably swiffering the floor. Yeah.
Oh, swiffering. Yeah, that final step. That's the shiny part, man. Final step. It's all shiny now.
Oh, I don't have to do that now because my daughter-in-law comes to clean.
That's quite a deal. No problem, man. Come on over.
She's just started her own cleaning business, so hey.
I love it. You're like, I'm totally supporting you, hon. Here you go. Problem solved. Well, you've been amazing, David. So now, where can fans find you and your work?
The website is www.awepublishingcompany.com or awepublishingco.com. Okay. I also have a wee publishing company on Facebook, so you can track me down there. And if you're on Twitter, it's God, I'm trying to wheeze. Did you know that "we" is the most popular word in Ireland? Yeah.
I did not, because we use it a lot.
My Twitter profile is at David H. Millar. So.
With an A.
With an A, yeah.
David H. Miller with an A.
Yes, with an A. Yes.
Excellent. All right, now that David is your new favorite writer, please make sure. Well, you are now. See, don't laugh. It's true. Now that David's your new favorite author, please make sure to review his work. You can also review us wherever it is you get your podcast. And you can follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/curseddragonship, or subscribe to us on YouTube, curseddragonship.com/YouTube. And we are taking the next 2 weeks off because we have DragonCon. So look for our live stuff. We're going to stream some stuff while we're there just for fun, because why not? Because we talk about it all year. You should at least get to experience a bit of it with us. And then we'll be back the week after that. So we'll see you soon.